the horse has already left the barn. It's we can't go back. So, but I am somewhat disappointed because, as I said, if we had acted when we knew that there was a vacancy, there could have been an election in the beginning, middle of January, and now we've lost 3 months.
Good evening. It is December 8th, and welcome to Cape Media News, your source for hyperlocal news that matters. I'm Lauren Williamson. Following the resignation of Chair Mary Anderson, the Harwich Select Board discussed the possibility of holding a special election during their October 30th meeting. It was decided that running an election to fill the vacancy for such a short time would be too expensive and burdensome for the town. However, a citizen petition has been filed with and certified by the town clerk, and now the select board is compelled to hold the special election prior to the annual election in May.
And this is the discussion and possible vote to call a special town election to fill the current select board vacancy, term to expire May 21st, 2024. So Emily, our town clerk, has given us quite extensive information on when the recommended date would be for that election. And unfortunately, we can't cancel the petition. So I guess the discussion will be on whether or not we want to move forward with the April 9th date.
There was a petition filed properly with the appropriate number of signatures certified, 242 in total. So that does compel the select board to call a special town election. I did speak with our town council, and they confirmed that we must adhere to the 64-day minimum, but that there's no outside kind of maximum during which you had to hold the election as long as it was prior to the annual. So your boundary markers are February 6th, which is 64 days from tonight, and then May 20th, yes, on the outer end. I did go into some detail in my memorandum to you saying that my two primary variables informing my recommendation were the presidential primary election, which is scheduled on March 5th, and then just the minimum time frames that are needed between any two elections, because we have to reprogram memory cards and test equipment and have ballots printed and those types of logistical factors.
I absolutely see no point other than the fact that there is a petition to hold a town meeting at the expense of $30,000 to fill a seat for 1 month.
I am somewhat disappointed because I know this isn't a prevailing view up here, but I was more interested in the democracy part of this than I was in the $20,000 or so dollars. I can't recall an executive being vacant in an elected position for 6 months. And as such, I kind of thought it was an unforced error on our part that we refused to call an election when you could have done something in January. A month movement has caused a 3-month change in the projected date. I think that's fair to say.
If you were very serious about a May 20th date and really minimizing the impact, presuming that it's no longer the goal to get a candidate into the seat for that 6 weeks, I could reach out to our vendor who programs our tabulators and see if they have memory cards available to rent. Sometimes they do, sometimes they do not. They don't guarantee it under our service agreement or our contract. If we had 2 sets of memory cards, we could potentially hold an election the day before. So if that was truly the pleasure of the board, I could explore that option and get back to you. Or if you would prefer to move forward with the dates, assuming the circumstances as I knew them prior to tonight's meeting, then I would stand by the April recommendation.
Well, I'd be interested in hearing if there was availability. What do you think?
I would as well, and,
Okay.
and there's 2 things in play here for me, and it's money and time spent by you and your department. And if it's beneficial for both, then I think I'd like to explore it.
Yep. Yeah, if
Okay.
you would, that would be great.
Sure.
Just bring us back the info.
Okay, I'd be happy to get that prepared for your next meeting.
Great. Thank you, Emily.
Sure.
The Yarmouth Police Department has issued a statement addressing the numerous complaints about door-to-door solicitors to remind residents and businesses as well that all door-to-door salespeople are required to apply for a sales permit. If approved, they're issued a Town of Yarmouth door-to-door solicitation identification badge displaying their name and company. Solicitors are only allowed to conduct sales between the hours of 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. and must have their ID visible. This is punishable by a fine of $300. If you are approached by a salesperson not in compliance with these regulations and rules, Yarmouth Police encourage you to call their non-emergency line at 508-775-0445. The Massachusetts Home Energy Assistance Program is accepting applications for fuel assistance for this season. This federally funded program helps pay for the fuel for a primary heating source including oil, natural gas, propane, electricity, wood, and coal. The Home Energy Assistance Program can also provide 12 months of discounted electricity, natural gas, and Verizon phone bills, as well as free home weatherization and heating system repair. Eligibility is based on income, household size, town of residence, and specific heating costs. It's free for you to apply, and you can do so online at sscac.org/fuel assistance, or you can go in person at the local offices at 133 Falmouth Road, Building 1, Suite E in Mashpee. The Chatham Housing Authority is accepting applications for the MCI Rent Lottery, a unique 5-year home ownership program. This initiative allows participants to accumulate a portion of their rent in an escrow account, which can be used towards purchasing a home on Cape Cod. Interested applicants can learn more at the upcoming information sessions at Chatham Housing Authority, located at 240 Crowell Road. The sessions are scheduled for Thursday, December 14th at 6 p.m. and Saturday, December 16th at 10 a.m. The program offers 3-bedroom houses with monthly rent or $1,800, excluding utilities. Notably, one property will be reserved for local preference. Applicants must live or work in the town or have a child in the local school system to qualify. To be eligible, applicants must be the first-time home buyers, as defined by specific criteria, including income and asset limits. The deadline to submit applications is January 16th, 2024, at 2 p.m. It's crucial to note that incomplete applications or those submitted after the deadline will not be considered. For more details on application process and eligibility criteria, or to address any questions you might have, interested parties can contact the Chatham Housing Authority at 508-945-0478 or email info@chathamha.org. Starting December 31st, Yarmouth's Article 35, a citizen's petition for single-use plastic water bottle ban bylaw, which was voted on at the annual town meeting last April, will come into effect. The petition has a sales ban on single-use water bottles, including sales of 6-packs and cases of water bottles. So you will no longer be able to purchase such products anywhere in Yarmouth. The ban is a message aiming to make the community more mindful about single-use water bottle usage and is specific to non-carbonated, non-flavored water beverages. The petition can be accessed for your viewing on the Health Department's section of the town website. Coming up after the break, homeless for the holidays. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Cape Media News. I'm Lauren Williamson. It's that time of the year again. Local police and firefighters are once again going homeless for the holidays. Over 20 years ago, born firefighter, paramedic Craig Poirier and his fellow firefighters began the tradition with a mission to collect toys and donations for children and families that are in need. What started as one fire department's charity event has now spread to almost every town on Cape. We visited Harwich and Yarmouth this week to hear more about this holiday tradition. Take a look.
So this is Homeless for the Holidays 2023. Basically, we're recognizing the homeless during the tough time of year. We camp out, we get a tent over here for 103 hours straight, and while we're out here, we're collecting cash donations, new and unwrapped toys, non-perishable food items, and also animal toys as well. And all proceeds will go to the Family Pantry at Cape Cod as well as Toys for Tots. This has been going on for, I want to say, established in 2002, so 21 years. It was started by Craig Poirier out in Bourne, and it's been growing all over the Cape, and I think almost every department, minus one or two, does it on the Cape. So it's a great turnout every year. There's a lot of departments involved in it, and help out a lot of families in need. Our union is Harwich Firefighters Union Local 2124. The Harwich Police Union is also going to be helping us out with it. They'll pop it from time to time. It is a great demand, to stay out for 103 years. So we have signed up for shifts, and making sure at least 2 or 3 people are here at around the clock, as well as overnights and all that good stuff. I mean, it's always nice, people come by with gifts for for the drive, but also just donuts and coffee for us, and the community is very supportive of us, and they show up and they help out greatly every year.
People know, come down to Brooks Park in Harwich. This is where we're camping out, and bring some toys and some food, and just say hi, whatever you want.
We do the same thing. We collect donations for the Yarmouth Food Pantry. It's a local food pantry. Toys for Tots and Caitlin's Closet is local kids, new kids clothing from infant to teens. Because a lot of times they stress to us that the teens get overlooked. But we like to give them new clothes so they feel comfortable going to school and being around in the social settings. We stay out here from Wednesday to Sunday. We'll be out here, and 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. is our advertised hours. We try not to collect donations after that just for security reasons. And we're going to be out here collecting things, and we distribute it, and also cash too, and we distribute it to the donations. This obviously, this time of year is a lot of people are in need. So we're here to help.
Yeah.
We had people showing up before we even had our tents set up this year. So I swear there's people staged in the driveways ready to come down. So we get a lot of support. It's been really good. Every year we've done this, it gets better and better, which is amazing. It's gained a lot of traction. There's a lot of other towns. I know Dennis Fire just did theirs last week, but we used to just be one of the few outside of Bourne, and now there's many. There's one in Truro. I think Harwich does one. Brewster might have one going this year. We have one going. And then obviously Bourne Fire. And I'm not sure if Falmouth is doing one or not, but they're across the Cape, all the way up to Truro. I mean, that's pretty good. So wherever the closest, we like being on 28 here because it's a good central point for people going through commuting. So the most important thing I need to do, if you allow me to, I got to shout out to my sponsors. So we get a lot of support from the community. Obviously, Caitlin's Closet, the Yarmouth Food Pantry, and Toys for Tots. But also, we wouldn't be able to do this without the Yarmouth Firefighters, the local 212 and the Yarmouth Firefighters Association. And also Cape Destinations gave us the bus this year. We have a New England Porta Potty, gave us the restroom. Cape Cod Firewood gave us the firewood. I know a lot of people, sometimes they struggle. There's a lot of different charities out there. And something that was passed on to me is, we're here, even if it just helps those, it's about the people that are in need. I know people get upset. They feel like there's a lot of charities given out to everybody, but that's what we do. And it's about the people that really need it. And that's why we're out here, to really help the people that need it. So keep those people in mind.
Over the weekend, Dennis residents were scheduled to receive a visit from the big man himself. Jolly old St. Nick was set to make his annual arrival by helicopter at Patriot Square. Cape Media News spokeschild Fiona Caswell has more to share.
Right here, behind me, Santa was supposed to land, but he will not be landing. He will be coming by wee-woos. Fire truck. Today, on Saturday, December 2nd, Cape Media News has visited Patriot Square in Dennis. We're right outside the Stop and Shop. Santa is not coming by helicopter in this weather. And now, we have to wait a half an hour. Fiona Caswell signing off. Back to you, Warren.
Thanks, Fiona. The Cape Cod Commission and the town of Yarmouth are holding a public meeting to share progress on the Station Avenue corridor study and source suggestions on potential improvements to the area. The purpose of this study is to identify causes of traffic and congestion and areas of danger for pedestrians, cyclists, and to develop alternative infrastructures that will improve your safety and accommodate all types of roadway users. The public meeting on Wednesday, December 13th, will include a presentation of initial ideas followed by an interactive group discussion focusing on gathering feedback on potential improvements. The meeting will be held at the Yarmouth Town Hall hearing room in South Yarmouth and can also be joined virtually via Zoom. To learn more, please visit yarmouth.ma.us. Last month, the Chatham Select Board approved a significant hike in parking violation fines. Fines for standard violations will increase from $50 to $75, and fines for parking in handicapped spaces without a placard will increase from $50 to $300. These changes will begin on January 1st, 2024. The public comment period for Barnstable's proposed 2024 calendar year fee changes is open now through December 14th. Town Manager Mark Ellis is accepting feedback on changes including the increase in cost of the Barnstable Recreation Summer Leisure Program, gymnasium rental space at the Hyannis Youth and Community Center, electric vehicle charging stations per kilowatt, and dog licensure. To provide your feedback, please email Mark Els at town.barnstable.ma.us. Coming up after the break, TB in Yarmouth. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Cape Media News. I'm Lauren Williamson. Reports of positive tuberculosis tests among migrant residents of Harborside Suites in Yarmouth sparked fear in the community this week that a public health crisis might be on the horizon. Cheryl Ball, administrator of the popular Cape Cod Concerned Citizens Facebook group, addressed the Select Board on Tuesday during public comment to voice her concern.
It has come to my attention that there are 4 confirmed cases of tuberculosis at Harborside, and others may be pending because not everyone has been tested. This information has been known for a couple of weeks, and it has not been made public to the Yarmouth residents and taxpayers. It's been quite a while since we've had any update on our town website about the Harborside Suites. I believe October 26th is the last date we received an update. So I think we deserve to be informed as to what is going on over there, especially now that there also seems to be a public health concern.
At the Board of Health meeting the day prior, Health Director Jay Gardner stressed that the public is not at risk of a tuberculosis outbreak. The positive tests being the result of either latent TB or a false positive from a TB vaccine are not indicative of active infection.
It's important that the listeners and the board understands there are no communicable diseases at the Harbor Suites, okay? There aren't any associated with this population here. And that's important. It is being monitored. The VNA of Cape Cod, they monitor our MAVEN system. There are no active cases of tuberculosis there. That's important that you understand that.
Many countries use a vaccine that we don't in this country. The BCG vaccine is what the name of it is. And what can happen is, it's used worldwide. that if someone has that skin test where they put the needle and they make the little bump and so on, that could become positive even though the person has never been exposed to tuberculosis. So because of the vaccine, the person could be testing positive, either because they have the vaccine and or actually have latent or tuberculosis. And one thing that people could think of tuberculosis, of latent tuberculosis, is like those of people who have had chickenpox, I guess, where the virus stays dormant in anyone who has, just quiet, and it can kind of come back. That's when someone will get zoster. It's sort of a reappearance of the virus. What's that?
Shingles.
Shingles,
Yeah.
thank you, yeah. People with latent tuberculosis, a lot of people can be treated for it. There's a regimen or choices of regimens where people who have latent tuberculosis perhaps should be treated, and that certainly needs to be determined by a health provider to make a decision whether that person, if they indeed have latent tuberculosis, should they be treated for it. That just because you're treating someone doesn't mean they could possibly infect somebody else. It's protecting that person who would have been exposed at some point to tuberculosis. This may not be relevant in that these people may not have latent tuberculosis. They just may have a positive test because of the vaccine that I described. Right.
That'd be interesting to know because, right. I mean, if they have latent tuberculosis, then, many people choose to be treated because later on they could become immunosuppressed, and at that point, the tubercle bacillus could come out and cause active infection.
More likely to treat someone if, yes, they're immunocompromised, they had an organ transplant, or perhaps they have what's called type 1 diabetes, or they're immunocompromised, they may be taking medication for arthritis or whatever it is. Those people are more likely to get treated. So that would be important to find that out. It may be a nice thing to do for the people who tested positive, get more information for them.
I can do that, but I would like, if anyone listening to this on a rebroadcast or even tonight here, that latent TB is not, in fact, a communicable disease. That's very clear, right?
Right.
So that didn't show, it's not active infection.
Right.
So that there's no ambiguity here that, in fact, it's not a communicable disease and that, in fact, the community is not at risk.
At Tuesday's Select Board meeting, Town Administrator Bob Wittenauer echoed the health director's sentiments, adding that the information was not shared with the public because it is a non-issue. No one at Harborside has symptoms of tuberculosis or any other active communicable diseases.
I didn't raise any alarm on this because of the nature of the report I have received within the last 2 days from the Board of Health, and it is with respect to the medical testing of the individuals in the migrant program staying at the Harbor Suites, and it was stated that there were instances of tuberculosis, and I just need to make everyone clear that if an individual contracts tuberculosis, the traces of that disease remain in your body, forever, and so long after you have active tuberculosis that it can be detected, and that's exactly what has occurred with a small number of the residents there, that they had identified through their medical testing these latent tuberculosis infections that were not active, were from years previous, are not contagious or active in any way, shape, or form, and the individuals there do not have symptoms of that. So based on the information I received from the Board of Health, that there's absolutely no risk to our general population as a result of those cases. I didn't raise it to a level to attempt to convince people that there was an active threat when there's not. In fact, there are actual people that have nothing to do with the migrant program that do have active cases of tuberculosis in our community. And those are being managed, by case professionals, handled in a certain way, but they don't involve these folks. And so the Board of Health, in giving me this information, they, made sure that I understood it and that I was careful not to present this information in a way that may, spike fear in the community that there are active cases of tuberculosis associated with the migrant housing there. So I just wanted to make you aware of that, and I can get a fuller report on all of the details of how that latent situation and what, the Board of Health is doing with their test results.
Thank you for joining us this evening. If you have a story that you'd like to see covered, send us an email at newstip@capemedia.org. Tune in every week to join us for more hyperlocal news that matters on Channel 26, Apple TV, Roku, and Fire TV. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media, including Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. For Cape Media News, I'm Lauren Williamson. Have a great night.